The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Optavia Habits of Health call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified Optavia coach, and it's my pleasure to host this call for you. Now, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health call, a special welcome to you. This call is for all Optavia clients, coaches, and health professionals. You might not fit in any of those categories, and you're simply interested in learning more about our program or how to create better health. So regardless, we're just really glad you all are here this evening. You might hear content geared this evening towards those that are in various stages of their health journey. Some will be in the weight loss phase, some in transition, some in the optimization phase, moving on towards a lifetime of optimal health. Optavia offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we also have a lot to offer to anyone who's looking for better health in any area of life. So if you're in the weight loss phase, perhaps you're on our Optimal Weight 5-in-1 plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you as guided by your free Optavia coach. Now, the webinar is being recorded. It will be available on your Optavia coach's co-branded website, as well as on our YouTube channel and by podcast within usually about 48 hours. So on YouTube, you can search Habits of Health Zoom. And for podcast, open the podcast player of your choice. We recommend iTunes and search for Optavia. Now, if you're listening to the recordings, congratulations to you for investing into your health, and we invite you to join us live the next time to be part of the discussion. These Habits of Health support webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can visit your Optavia coach's co-branded website for the link. Now, tonight we're looking forward to a really good call, and we're so glad that you've joined us. But, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I know a lot of you are really excited to hear. We've got a really special guest tonight. But as we begin this call, I do want to pause for a few moments to recognize the impact that Lori Anderson has had on so many lives who are watching and listening to this webinar. Lori's husband is Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, the co-founder of Optavia and the author of Dr. A's Habits of Health. Lori passed away quite unexpectedly less than a week ago on May 3rd, leaving so many of us shocked and grieving. Now, when I began my own journey to health, it was Lori's voice on a support call, like this one, that made me believe I could truly transform my life. She was one of my biggest cheerleaders on my journey to better health. And when we began our coaching business, she and Dr. A invested their expertise and their hearts into helping my husband and I succeed, and graciously extended the gift of their friendship. And as we grew, they believed in us, they encouraged us, and they helped us to become the best versions of ourselves. And I know that many of you listening could echo my sentiments, because that's been your experience as well. The world has lost an amazing woman, but the legacy that she leaves behind, over 1 million lives touched, is absolutely incredible. She blazed a trail for all of us as the first coach for our company, establishing many of the effective coaching guidelines that we use to support clients and help them transform their health. It's a legacy that we continue to honor as we follow in her footsteps, transforming lives one person and one healthy habit at a time. So along with you, I think it simply can't be true that she's gone. But I know, however, that she would also say, don't give up. And so today I honor her legacy. There's a few ways that I'm doing that today. And I'd invite you to choose one or more of them as your way of honoring Lori too. First of all, over the last few days as we celebrated her life, I frankly was not being as careful about my health choices as I ordinarily would be. And so today I took a deep breath and I refocused on my health choices that are important to me. And I know that one of the ways that I can honor her life is to create good health for myself and to model it well for others. That's something we all can do. And frankly, if that's something that you would like to commit to doing, to making the decision now to make better choices about your own health, to focus a little bit on yourself for a bit, on your own health, I'd like you to put in the chat box, you know, you're going to take care of me, meaning for yourself. So put me in there if you're going to take care of yourself in the chat box. Oh my goodness, look at that chat box blow up. That's pretty awesome. She would love that. Now, I also used this day to reach out to those who needed my support and encouragement on their journey to health. You don't need to be an Optavia coach in order to do this. Think about it. Who do you know who needs to hear about our program? All you need to do is share with them about what excites you on your journey to health and help them get connected with your coach or the person who invited you to this call. Think about who do you know who needs encouragement that they really can move forward on their health goals. Let them know that you'd be glad to be their cheerleader, just like Lori was for so many of us. You could do something as simple as sharing the recording of this call with someone and say, hey, I think you'll really find this to be inspiring. So if as a way of honoring Lori's legacy, you'd like to focus on helping someone else, either today or tomorrow, I'd like you to put in the chat box, others. Okay, I'm going to help someone else. Okay, if you're willing to help someone else. Now, the other thing that I'm doing today to honor her legacy is not something that you all are able to do, and some of you are really grateful for this. But I'm hosting the Habits of Health call today as part of the way that I'm honoring her legacy. These support calls were so important to her. She knew how beneficial they were to so many people. And when I spoke to Dr. Anderson for the first time after her passing, one of the very first things that he said to me is how he is even more passionate than ever to move forward on this mission, because we are all acutely aware of how very precious life is and how the precious moments pass by so quickly. We are on a mission to get America healthy and then the world. So if that's your passion too, even as we keep Dr. A and his daughters in our thoughts and prayers, we can keep moving forward. So if that's your passion and you're committed to that, put in the chat box, I'm in, because I know a lot of you share the same passion. Now, some of you may have already been on the client support call that was held a little bit earlier this evening. And on that call, there was also a tribute to Lori. But if you missed that, you may want to check out the recording for that. And you'll be able to find that if you go to your coach's website and click on community, the recording of that will be posted either within the next 48 hours or certainly by Monday. I think you'll enjoy seeing that. Now, our guest on the call tonight was also touched by Lori's warm and caring heart. And I know you are all excited to hear more from her. Lori was so excited to keep getting updates on Brittany's progress over the last 22 months. And she even posted congratulations to her right after her national TV debut last week. So Lori was just so happy for Brittany and so thrilled by the way that Brittany has been transforming her health. And I am really excited to give you guys an opportunity to hear from her in a moment. But actually, I guess on these calls, I generally start off by introducing myself. So I'll give you just a brief introduction, and then I'm going to give you a chance to hear from Brittany, because I know a lot of you are excited about this. So as I said, my name's Shirley. I'm a certified Optavia coach. My own health journey started with my health at a pretty desperate place, and thus the title of this call. We're talking this evening about freedom from obesity and how you really can transform your health when you're coming out of a background of morbid obesity. When I started the program, I was close to 400 pounds. I had really quite despaired that I could do anything really to impact my health. I was quite certain I wasn't going to get to meet my grandchildren, because I know what happens to people that are morbidly obese. The lifespan is shortened. It's just, you know, I didn't have hope for a long and healthy life. But when I started this program, there was a very quick shift that happened in my mind. Within 2 weeks' time, I realized not only was this going to help me get the weight off, but it was going to give me life that I had never dreamed was possible. So as a result of this program, as a result of the tools and support, I've lost 215 pounds on this program 6 years ago. And not only have I gotten to meet my grandbabies, There's another one on the way. All the grandmothers in the room are all rejoicing, and with me, I'm sure. But I can sit on the floor to play with them. I can have the energy that I need to be able to invest in their lives. And it's just been an incredible blessing. Well, I want to now, with no further ado, give you an opportunity to hear from Brittany May and have her share a bit of her story. Brittany, honey, what do you got to share with us tonight? Tell us, actually, for those who haven't met you yet, share a little bit of your story with them.
Well, first off, I've got to say, life is an absolute party. I can't. If you would have told me that where I'm at now and the things that I'd be experiencing would be happening 22 years ago, it's all been one giant pinch me moment. But it all starts, I say it all the time, but I've always been on the larger side, even as a kid. I was the last kid to finish laps at soccer practice in kindergarten. I was denied access to ride a roller coaster in 7th grade as a 12 or 13-year-old being denied access to ride a roller coaster in front of all your friends. Not a very fun moment, but just working my way up through the weight, made it through high school, made it through college. I found myself at my dream job. I'm a high school agriculture teacher where I have the best students in the entire world. I work with the best teachers, the best of the best. But reason that my students weren't getting their full experience. I was too large to fit behind the steering wheel of a car. The bell at the end of the day was my best friend because that meant I got to go home. I, at years of age, was 514 pounds. 514 pounds, over a quarter of a ton, and just living, not really thriving, one could say. But thanks to my coach, my loving friend from high school, she reached out. She loved on me. I tend to be stubborn, so she loved on me for a little while, about 1.5 years. But thanks to her loving on me, I got to start this whole journey. And in the last 22 months, I'm down 336 pounds, which, as you can see, I fit in one leg of my former pants. But so yeah, I'm a fraction of what I used to be size-wise, but this has been the catalyst to so many more changes in my life. I am exponentially more available to those in my life. I'm the best teacher that my students can have. I've moved out of my parents' house. I can fit behind the steering wheel of a car. I'm in a loving relationship. Every aspect of my life has changed in the last 22 months. And this is just the beginning. I'm beyond excited to see where this life goes, and I know that I get to help people along the way. And like I said, life's a party.
That is so awesome. And I got to tell you, so a lot of you are thinking, wow, can it get any better? Well, actually, maybe it can. Because last week, Brittany had the incredible opportunity to be a guest on NBC's Megyn Kelly Today. So, you know, the thing is, if the idea of having an audience of nearly 3 million people on national television made her nervous, you would never have known it. So if you missed seeing her, make a note of the link that's on the screen. You can watch it again after the call ends. And for those of you that are listening with audio only, the link is a bit.ly link. So it's bit.ly, bit.ly/Optavia Today. Optavia Today is all caps. This is case sensitive. So if you go check out that link, you can see her debut. She did an awesome job. And frankly, due to the incredible response, NBC wrote an article featuring Brittany for their website. So tell us, Brittany, what should we know about this experience? What do you think people would like to hear?
Well, first off, that is Megyn Kelly holding my fat pants. But it was all, whenever I used to wear those pants, it seemed like normal laundry, but now when I hold them up, and especially when I see other people hold them up, it's a bit of an odd experience. But that, again, that's just a fraction of the whole experience. I tend to be the more behind the scenes type of a person, and well, this is obviously center stage, not behind the scenes at all. But if going on live national television to share my story just touches at least one person, then you know what? I've fulfilled my job here on this here earth. And I got to experience with my mom, who is now a client of mine, is just to be able, I've lost the weight myself. I've completely changed the path of my own life. I'm helping friends, I'm helping family, I'm helping countless others. And now to hear from other coaches who shared this story as well, it's just this huge trickle effect. And my heart is beyond full. And then you've heard that my students are a huge part of my why. To go back to school that Friday after this had aired, you would have thought that I was some hotshot celebrity, but they know that I care so deeply about them. And to go back to my original cheerleading squad was one of the neatest experiences I can ever describe. But my heart is beyond full, and just to know, because I don't wish being 500 plus pounds on anybody. Everything hurt. Every task seemed like a mountain, but to now get to use that, to use my personal story to unlock other people's prisons is beyond words. I talk a lot. So to be in a moment where I don't have words, wow.
And it was such an incredible moment. And actually, even somebody here in the chat box was talking about the fact that because of your story, she was able to help one of her friends, get healthy. I think the ripple effect of this is going to be I know that there's a client that I helped to get started because she heard your story. And you're just inspiring so many people. So for the rest of this call, what I'd love to do is to give you guys a chance to do kind of a Q&A. And I do have some questions from the last time we did this call, but some of you guys are aware that we do this about once a quarter. So some of the questions that we weren't able to get to the last time, I'm going to cover some of those this evening. But if you have questions, don't put them in the chat box. The chat box goes by too fast for me to catch it all. But we do have a Q&A feature on Zoom. So if you click on that, you can put your question in there and we will answer as many as we can get to this evening. In the amount of time that we have left, which always goes by too fast, Brittany. I tell you, maybe we have to do a 3-hour Zoom next. No, we won't. I'm kidding. So for our first question, what would you say to somebody who says, how often should someone celebrate? We know that celebrating is really important on this journey to health because what we celebrate, we tend to get more of. So if you've got 200 to 300 pounds to lose, how often did you celebrate? What would you, did you do it every 20 pounds, every 50 pounds? Speak to that a little bit.
So, I say all the time that life's a party. And again, celebrating these little victories along the way are super important, whether it be weight milestones. And in my own personal journey, I'm aiming to lose close to 365 pounds, and to try to just do all that, God, that's a bit much. So break it down, whether it be, and it's to each individual person, but for me personally, I just wanted to get my weight into the 4s. And then it was celebrating weekly, but also celebrating every 25 pounds, whether it was a small token of, I love kitchen gadgets. So whether adding a new toy in the kitchen or treating myself to a new pair of shoes when I lost the first 100 pounds. But setting those weight victories is important, but also celebrating, just recognizing the abilities along the way. Just recognizing that I fit behind the steering wheel of a car, or just reflecting on my shoe was untied and I wasn't out of breath to tie it. Every day.
And those of you that have lost a lot of weight, you know what a big deal it is to be able to tie your shoes by yourself, right? I know. It's the little things. And I know for me on my own journey with losing 215 pounds, I know that I did set certain landmarks that I celebrated. I got to a certain weight and then decided, you know what? I think I'm small enough to fit on a massage table now. So I signed myself up for a massage. I am also a big fan of bling and having things that I can put in front of me. So those of you that know me know that this ring is always on my finger. This is the one that I would have gotten when I got under 200 pounds. Now, when I got it, it fit over on this finger. Now I could move it to a thicker finger which is kind of cool. But I've continued that too. Even it was 6 years ago that I lost the 215 pounds. But the beginning of this year, I decided that I was going to take my health to the next level. And so when I hit another goal that was important to me, I got this ring. I think it cost me $20. I'm not about big expense, but it has little leaves on it. Reminds me that I'm growing. It just helps me to stay focused, to celebrate the successes and keep moving forward. Here's another interesting question, Brittany. Do you ever get bored with what you need to eat on our program? In other words, you know, you certainly have some restrictions on what you're eating. So do you find that like you get kind of bored of eating lean and greens, or that you need more variety with fuelings? How has that been for you?
So I'm still on my journey. I currently am on the 5-in-1 plan. And for the last 22 months, I've been faithful to Optavia and the plan. And now, like, again, you'll hear it often, but life's a party. And first off, there's just so many options when it comes to fueling wise that switch it up, try something new, add something new in your box every month. But if you feel the need to get fancy with it, because you can make it as simple or as fancy as you want. That's kind of the awesome part of this whole program. But Optavia conveniently has a Pinterest that has a whole board of just fueling hacks. So it's already laid out there for you. You know that they're plan approved. If you feel the need to get fancy one night, it's for you. But no, I love trying new things, and 22 months in, I'm still not bored, which I feel honestly that's got to be a pretty good testament to things.
Well, I think you're right. And I think the other thing that makes a big impact on that, Brittany, is you got really clear on what you wanted and why you wanted it. So what you needed to do in order to get there became less important. So, and I know that's true for me, because people have asked me the same thing about like, and I said, well, I don't know that I ever really got bored, because I knew what I wanted. I wanted to live to see my grandchildren. I wanted to ride roller coasters. So whatever I needed to do to get what I wanted, that was okay with me. So I think for us, I know for me, boredom just wasn't really a factor for me. Because I knew what I wanted, and what I wanted was so much better than anything that I may have been, quote, giving up. I know that there was somebody here that was asking about loose skin, and we addressed that on the first Habits of Health call that we did together back in November. So I think I'm going to not take the time here, but if that's a question that you guys have, it's a good question. Go find the Habits of Health archives and check that one out from our November 8th Habits of Health call. Here's another question for you. Actually, there's like all these great questions in the Q&A box, and I can't quite keep up with all of them. Talk to me about this. Somebody said, okay, how are you maintaining this? How are you continuing this? Do you ever have a bad day?
Well, life isn't always going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Even for somebody who says life's a party.
Even for somebody who says life's a party. I know, crazy thought, right? So I definitely love it. It's every day may not be good, but you can find great in every day. And just knowing that I'm going to, even in what seems to be the stormiest of days, I can focus on the awesome part, that I'm continuing to push through those, working towards my goals, and I'm going to be rewarded for that. Not every day is sunshine and rainbows, but like you had said, my goals are more important than trying to fix this with food like I would have in the past.
That's it. Well, and those of you that have met Brittany in person, you know she's pretty upbeat. You know, I remember meeting her back before she started this journey. She's not my direct client, but I had gotten to meet her then. And she was a pretty positive person then too. But I know that for me, I found on this journey that I got a choice. I got to choose what I was going to focus on. So everybody has bad days. Even people that are as positive as Brittany, everybody has bad days. Everybody has challenges in their lives, but we get more of what we focus on. And I get to choose what I want to put my attention to. And I think that's been a really critical part of Brittany's success, is she's just choosing what she's going to focus on. Let me think. Oh, see, I get so wrapped up in the questions that I forget I'm supposed to be coming up with the next one, you know? That's an interesting question. Somebody said, would you like to give up teaching and coach full time? Maybe we'll address that a little bit later. I may not put you on the spot for that one just yet. Here's another one, though, that I think we had talked about earlier today. Here's what I'd love to have you answer, actually. How do you keep motivated when you see others hitting their goals and you've got so much to lose. So in other words, maybe you start the program, you've got a friend who's losing 50 pounds, they hit their goal weight, and you still have a long way to go. Was that challenging for you?
Again, not every day is sunshine and rainbows, and some days you gotta work your way through that, but everyone's journey is different. And knowing that I didn't put it on in a day, knowing that it's not gonna come off in a day, definitely that. It's to think of how far you've come. Whether, even if you're in week 1, the fact that you decided to start, that's a huge thing. But now where I'm at, I am no longer morbidly obese. I'm no longer even obese. I have truly freed myself from obesity. I'm not quite to my goal yet, but even if I come across they're finished, they're maintaining, I know that I'm gonna get there in my
Absolutely. Own time. Absolutely, because the thing is, if you just keep pressing forward, you get to the goal. And actually, I would hate to miss this on this call. With the quantity of people that are on this call, I'd be willing to bet that you and I are not the only ones on this call who have come out of morbid obesity. Okay, morbid obesity is defined as 100 pounds over your healthy BMI. So if you have lost over 100 pounds on this program, would you put 100, or well, actually put the amount that you've lost. If you've lost 100 pounds or more in this program, put it into the chat box, because I would be willing to bet there is a boatload of people. Yeah, look at this. There's 100, 140, 100. Yeah, my word. And for those of you that aren't watching live, you're just going to have to deal with the fact that there's a bunch of people on this call. And so this is not unique to Brittany and me. There are a lot of people that are doing this, and it's really kind of amazing. I have one other question for you before we wind this down, Brittany. Earlier today, we were talking about some activity that you were doing. And on the last call, you and I were talking about the fact that you had started to figure out, you were starting to do yoga and we're kind of enjoying that. But you found another activity today to do that you were able to do. Would you like to speak to that?
I would. So I just like testing the waters on new abilities, and sometimes I'm a little hesitant because I'm not sure if my body can handle them just yet. But I've tried galloping here and there, but today I was literally skipping through the halls of my school. Skipping! Me! Used to be 500 pounds, and I was skipping with joy through the classroom, or through the halls.
I love it. I love it. Like how fun is that? Because, you know, some of you, it may have been a little while since you've skipped, but you remember back to when you were a kid. Maybe you ought to try it again. It's kind of a fun thing to try. So tell me this, Brittany, as we wrap this up, what are you looking for? What's the next goal that you're looking forward to, or the next thing that you're hoping to accomplish or that you're excited about?
So for the first time, I am now in the overweight bracket, and I'm inching my way closer to healthy BMI, which I never thought was going to be attainable. But for the first time in my cognitive life, I am going to just be living and maintaining and not focusing on weight loss. I've never had that in my recollection of life. Never. So that's pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, I love it. And because for those of us that have battled weight for so long, and some of us on this call, I mean, for me, I battled it well into my 40s. I'm just delighted that Brittany figured this out and found this program and was able to do this at the age that, you know, for someone old like me, she seems like such a young age, right? But what I find is that the freedom that comes when you no longer have to be focusing on weight loss anymore, because you already are at a healthy weight and you have the tools and support that you need to create long-term health, when you can be at the point where you're not afraid that the weight is ever coming back. It's an amazing level of freedom. So Brittany, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the call with us this evening. And for those who are listening, actually, do you have any closing thoughts? You've given us so many great tips tonight.
Again, my biggest one is, especially for those of you who are tackling morbid obesity like we had, you don't have to face the mountain in a day. You just take it one day and one healthy habit at a time.
That is awesome. Well, for all of you on the call, for all of you listening to the recording later, we are just so glad you joined the call. And I'd encourage you to do two things when you get off this call. First of all, connect with the person who invited you to this call and share with them one thing that you learned something that inspired you, and so on, okay? That's one thing. The second thing I'd like you to do is share something from this call with another friend who would find it to be inspiring. Maybe you can share the recording link or the podcast link, because what happens is when we help others, we end up getting stronger in the process. So those are the two favors that Brittany and I would ask you to do. So again, get back in touch with the person who invited you on this call, especially for those of you that are just checking out the program, wanting to know a little bit more about this. Call your friend up who invited you to the call and say, hey, I was on that call with Brittany. Tell me more about that program that she used to get healthy. So again, we are so glad that you've joined us, and we hope you'll make it a great week, and we'll see you at 8:30 Eastern next Wednesday night for the next Habits of Health webinar.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.